right, let's dive into something I think we can all relate to. Self-talk.
That voice in our heads that just never seems to quit.
Yeah, exactly. Never shuts up.
Yeah.
I was actually watching this YouTube video.
Oh, yeah?
It's from this channel called Listen and Learn English.
Yep.
And it was an episode called Impact of Self-Talk.
Interesting.
The hosts, Ryan and Julia, were so fun, and Ryan's this self-proclaimed life coach.
Okay.
I've got to admit, I kind of do the same thing, trying to pump myself up
Oh, totally, yeah.
in the bathroom mirror.
I think we've all been there.
But yeah, I mean, it made me think about all this stuff,
Yeah.
this inner voice we have and how it really affects us.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're going to be diving into today.
Okay, cool.
How much does our self-talk, affect us? We're talking not just the good stuff,
Oh, yeah.
but also the negative
Right.
and even some of the weird things about it.
So maybe we should start by defining what self-talk actually is.
Okay, yeah, that's a good place to start.
It's that constant kind of stream of thoughts we have, both positive and negative.
So it's not just about those cheesy motivational quotes.
Not at all.
Okay,
It's like a running commentary on your life.
Right.
I think there's a good example in the video. Brian talks about dropping his phone and just immediately thinking, nice going, genius.
Oh, man.
So that's a classic example of negative self-talk.
We've all been there.
Definitely.
Is there a difference between that kind of negative self-talk
Yeah,
and realistically evaluating a situation?
that's a great question.
Because, sometimes you do kind of have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so I think negative self-talk often involves
yeah.
exaggerating our mistakes or catastrophizing,
Okay.
using really overly critical language.
Gotcha.
It's that voice that tells you you're a failure because you spilled your coffee,
Uh-huh.
rather than just acknowledging it was an accident.
So it's not about ignoring our mistakes.
Right.
It's about how we talk to ourselves about them.
Exactly. And the thing is, this internal dialogue has a huge impact on how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world.
When I get stuck in a negative self-talk spiral,
Yeah.
it's almost like I'm wearing these dark tinted glasses
Interesting.
that just make everything seem gloomy
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
and hopeless.
Negative self-talk can make us doubt our abilities, avoid taking risks,
Oh, wow.
and even sabotage our own success.
So it's not just a harmless chatter in our heads.
No, it's not.
It actually shapes our reality.
Absolutely. It can impact everything from our mood
Okay.
and relationships to our career choices
Wow.
and overall well-being.
So if negative self-talk is so damaging, what can we actually do about it?
That's a good question.
Can we change this inner voice?
Yeah, that's the good news. We can.
Okay.
It's not about silencing that inner voice completely,
Right.
but about learning to manage it
Okay.
and shifting it toward a more positive and supportive tone.
Okay, so how do we actually do that?
Yeah, we'll get into that more in the next part.
Okay, cool.
But for now, let's just lay the groundwork.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Sounds good.
So we're back, and I'm ready to learn how to actually change that negative self-talk.
Well, we've been talking about how negative self-talk can be so damaging.
Yeah.
But the good news is that positive self-talk can have some really amazing benefits.
Okay, so let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
How do we actually make that shift?
Okay, so one really effective technique
Okay.
is called cognitive reframing.
Okay, I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it's basically changing the lens through which you're viewing a situation.
Okay, so instead of getting stuck in a negative thought loop,
Exactly.
you try to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah, so let's say you get a flat tire
Oh, God.
on your way to a really important meeting.
Yeah.
Your initial thought might be, oh my God, this is a disaster. I'm going to be so late.
Oh, yeah. I'd be freaking out.
But what if, instead of spiraling into those negative thoughts, you took a moment to just reframe the situation?
Okay, so how would I reframe a flat tire?
You could see it as an unexpected opportunity
Okay.
to just take a few deep breaths,
Oh, okay.
listen to your favorite podcast,
Right.
or enjoy a few minutes of peace and quiet.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
It's like finding the silver lining even in negative
Precisely.
situations.
And that shift in perspective can totally change your emotions.
Okay.
Instead of being stressed and overwhelmed,
Yeah.
you might feel a sense of calm
Right.
or even gratitude.
For the break.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah, and it takes practice.
Right.
But the more you do it, the easier it gets.
I imagine so.
Cognitive reframing can help you manage stress, reduce anxiety, and approach challenges with just a more positive outlook.
So it's like training your brain to be more optimistic.
Exactly. And another really powerful technique
Right.
for cultivating a more positive inner voice is practicing gratitude.
Okay, I've heard a lot about gratitude journals and all that,
Yeah.
but to be honest, it always sounded a bit cheesy to me.
I get it. But hear me out.
Good.
Taking a few moments each day to appreciate the good things in your life,
Yeah.
no matter how small, can have a huge impact
Okay.
on your mindset.
So it's not just about like writing it down,
Yeah.
you have to actually feel it.
Exactly. And the research on gratitude is really impressive.
Okay.
It's been linked to increased happiness, improved sleep,
Wow.
even better physical health.
Okay, so how does gratitude tie back into self-talk?
Well, when you're focused on the positive,
Okay.
it becomes a lot harder for those negative thoughts
Yeah.
to take over.
I
You're
agree.
basically crowding out the negativity
Right.
with appreciation and contentment.
So it's like building an immunity to all those,
That's
negative thoughts that can kind of ruin your day.
exactly. And speaking of building immunity, let's talk about affirmations.
Okay, yes.
I'm strong.
Yeah.
You know?
I am powerful statements.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do those actually work?
They can be really powerful if you use them correctly.
Okay.
It's not just about repeating any old positive phrase.
Okay.
It's about choosing affirmations that really resonate with you
Gotcha.
and that address specific areas where you want to improve.
Okay, so if I'm someone who always doubts my abilities,
Yeah,
I might choose an affirmation like, I am capable and competent.
exactly. And the key is to repeat these affirmations consistently,
Okay.
ideally out loud with conviction and belief.
So it's almost like planting a seed
Yeah,
in your subconscious mind
that's a good analogy.
and then watering it with repetition
Exactly.
until it takes root.
Our brains are so adaptable.
Yeah.
By consistently feeding them positive affirmations, we can actually rewire our thinking patterns.
It's almost like brainwashing in a good way.
Think of it as positive brain training.
Okay. I like that.
You're teaching your brain to focus on the good
Right.
and believe in your potential.
Okay. I am convinced I'm going to start using some affirmations.
I think you should.
What are some other techniques that I can use?
Well, mindfulness meditation is a great tool
Okay.
for cultivating a more positive inner landscape.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's all about paying attention to the present moment
Right.
without judgment.
So instead of getting swept away by all those racing thoughts,
Right.
you just observe them without getting attached.
Exactly. It's about creating space
All right.
between your thoughts and your reactions,
Well,
giving you more control
That makes sense.
over how you respond.
This is so cool.
Yeah, it's really empowering.
It's like we have this untapped power to shape our reality
Yeah.
with our thoughts.
We're not just passive recipients of our thoughts.
Right.
We have the ability to choose which ones we focus on.
That's awesome. But it does sound like a lot of work.
It does take effort, but remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Be kind to yourself, start small,
Yeah.
and celebrate the small victories along the way.
This is really inspiring me to try some of this stuff out.
I hope so.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Just remember, the most important thing is to be consistent.
Okay.
The more you practice these techniques,
Right.
the more natural they'll become.
Makes sense.
And the more positive your self-talk will be.
All right, so we're back and we've been talking all about,
Self-talk,
self-talk.
that inner voice that can sometimes feel like a best friend or,
Yeah,
our worst enemy.
totally.
And we've explored some really powerful techniques for,
Yeah.
shifting that inner dialogue
Mm.
from negative to positive.
Like cognitive reframing and affirmations.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
It's like building a toolbox
Yeah.
for a more positive and a resilient mindset.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, the more tools you have,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped you'll be to handle whatever comes your way.
For sure. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into self-talk,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, remember that you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
Everyone experiences negative self-talk.
True.
It's just part of being human.
It's reassuring to know we're all in this together.
Exactly. And the good news is we don't have to be victims of it.
Right.
We have the power to choose a different path.
It's about reclaiming our power.
Right.
Choosing how we talk to ourselves.
Yes. And remember, it's a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
Right.
Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Celebrate the small wins.
I like that.
And don't be afraid to experiment until you find what works.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's personal.
Yeah.
And as you cultivate this practice of positive self-talk,
Yeah.
you'll start to notice positive changes in other areas of your life, too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Your relationships might improve, your confidence might grow,
Oh, cool.
and you might just find yourself feeling more resilient
Okay.
when you face challenges.
So it's like those positive thoughts have this ripple effect that
Exactly.
goes outward.
One thing I found really helpful is paying attention
Okay.
to my self-talk in specific situations.
Okay.
Like before a big meeting or a presentation,
Right.
I'll take a few minutes and just intentionally shift my self-talk
Okay.
to something more positive and empowering.
So you're like giving yourself a pep talk.
Exactly. And even if you don't feel 100% confident,
Mm-hmm.
just faking it till you make it
Yeah.
can actually help.
Really?
Yeah, our brains don't always know the difference
Interesting.
between what's real and what we imagine.
Oh, wow.
So by consistently, feeding ourselves those positive affirmations,
Okay.
we can actually rewire our thinking.
So we're kind of like tricking our brains into believing in ourselves.
Think of it more like
Mhm.
intentionally guiding our thoughts
Gotcha.
in a more positive direction.
It's more natural over time, right?
Exactly. It's like building a muscle.
Right. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. I'm really glad we got to talk about this today.
Me too. This is so insightful.
It really is fascinating stuff.
I feel like I have like a whole new understanding of the power of self-talk.
You really do have the power to choose your thoughts and shape your own reality.
Well said. Thanks for joining us today.
It was my pleasure.
And for everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive
Yeah.
into the world of self-talk. And we'll see you next time.